Alright, so welcome to Power Apps ABC with Kenechukwu, and today we'll be talking about the use of trigger condition and which will help us to optimize our flow. Before we get started, I would like to share a story. I'll never forget the first day I built a Power Automate flow. It looked perfect. The logic checked out, the connection were all green. I hit save and boom, and waited. Then boom, my inbox exploded. I had dozens of emails in less than 5 minutes, all from my flow. That was the day I learned the important lesson of using trigger condition. Instead of just firing every time an item is created or modified, I could tell my flow only run when my status is either pending, approved, or when an amount is greater than 1,000. So that's the beauty of using trigger condition. You can tell your flow when you want it to run. Without wasting much time, let me show you how we can add trigger condition to our flow. Alright, this is a flow I have that sends a notification whenever an item is created or modified. Okay, let's say we want to use, let me just create another one from scratch so we can use that to do this session. So I go to my flow, so I'll be creating an automated cloud flow, same like that. So I will just add whenever an item is created or modified, just send a mail. So with that, we're going to be applying our trigger condition to it and see how it works. All right, so it is still loading. All right, so I can just come here and say create new flow. I want to use an automated cloud flow, for instance. Then I can just call it test. For instance, we are calling it test flow. Then the whenever an item is created, let's use whenever an item is created or modified. So you can get to impute the site name and your list name, then perform an action. So this is our trigger. So let me take it out from this new designer. Start saving. All right. So once this comes up, you input your site address. I want to enter a custom value. Then impute your lists. So I'm using this. So this is our trigger whenever an item is created or modified. So our action, let's say for instance we want to send a mail. I want to send a mail, for instance. Let's use this. This is a very common scenario. Do I still have? All right, I'm just doing tests. I don't have this up parts. Let me try and see if I can copy it. All right, so I'll add the email address here. So let's take, for instance, this is our flow. Whenever an item is created or modified, send this notification. So if I go to my list, whenever an item is created, this flow will be triggered. Whenever an item is modified, this flow will be triggered. If the list is modified like 10 times, it will keep sending mail. So for instance, let's go to the list. Let me try and open our list and modify an item. So these are status of my item. So let's take for instance, I modify this first item. Let me go to this and add another M. And okay, I modify it. If I exit this and go to my inbox and refresh, I would get a notification. So if I get to modify it like 10 times, I will get 10 notification. If you modify other items, you keep getting notification. It has not dropped. So you keep getting multiple mails and directs. So but with trigger condition, you're telling your flow only trigger or only work. Right, I just got a notification now. This is it. Okay, this is it. This is the one. Test. So if I go back to my flow, if I go back to my list again and modify this one, the first one we modified, the status is pending. We got a notification. Then if I go to this and also modify this, I will get a notification. If an item gets created, each and every time an action happens on this list, the flow will be triggering notification. So one of the best way to handle this is by the use of trigger condition. So how do we use trigger condition? I'll be showing you. All right, so we get a notification. So the next thing is, how do you use your trigger condition? To use your trigger condition, you just go to your trigger. This is our trigger. Whenever an item is created, you click on this dot by the right, by the top. You click on this and look at the notification just dropped. Now you can see each and every time it get modified, I still get a notification. So to handle that, I will just go to these three dots here. Then you go to settings. When you go to settings, you scroll down. When you scroll down, you can see trigger condition. So you can add a condition here. So this is when you can say you want this flow to trigger only when your status is pending, or only when the status is approved, or only when the status is rejected. This is when I want you to trigger or send a notification. So to achieve that, you can just type the expression when status is equal to pending. But if you don't know it offhand, you don't have to panic. So one of the easiest way to get those expressions is by using filter array. I normally use filter array because I don't trouble myself thinking about how to get the formula. I just come here, add an action, and search for filter array. So once I search for filter array, so it will help me to generate the expression. So I don't need to. You look for this filter array. So once you look for the filter array, you can now choose. So what are you trying to say? You're trying to say status. We are trying to look for status. Remember, status is a choice column, so you go with the value, status value. So status value is equal to, we want it to only trigger when status value is equal to pending. So to avoid mistake, you should go to your list and copy it the exact way it is. But I know how I spelled it. So this is what we want. Only trigger when status value is pending. So the next thing is, to get the expression, you just go to edit in advance. So you can see this is the formula. Trigger body output value equals to this. So what you do, you just copy this. Control C, then you go to this place. Go back to that your settings and input it. So when you input it, you just say done. Then you can take this out. You can delete this one now. So you can delete this. Once you delete this, you save your flow. So I'll go back to my list again. So now this is pending, this is approved. So let's go and modify the approved and rejected request. You will see no notification will come. I modify this, the status is approved. I will modify this, the status is approved also. Let's say I modify this, I'll modify this, the status is rejected. So once I save this, exit grid mode, you will see my flow will not trigger. You know, we triggered the flow 2 times, so my flow will not trigger because it will see the condition as false, so it will not trigger. So let's go to our flow run. You can see the flow only triggered twice. The 2 times we tried it, but we've modified 3 items on the list. It will not trigger because the conditions are not right. So you see, that's the beauty of using trigger conditions. So it can only trigger when the condition is correct. So that is the beauty of trigger conditions. So if you derive value from this, please click the subscribe button, share, and also comment. Thank you very much. And I'll be dropping other ways we can actually get to handle those kind of reoccurrence by using there's also another trigger we can also use, but in our next video I'll be dropping that. Thank you.